Hey, what's up everyone? PersNikity here. Welcome back to the Evil Within AKUMU difficulty walkthrough. That sounded weird when I said it. AKUMU difficulty walkthrough. And we're moving on to Chapter 6, Losing Grip on Ourselves. And if you did any research before your AKUMU playthrough, then you know this is one of the most challenging chapters in the game. This is going to be very tough, and that's for a number of reasons. First off, it's kind of a long chapter. It's definitely the longest in the game so far. But the level starts off with the burning room fight, and that already is that's probably that is definitely the hardest part of the level. One of the hardest parts in the game, and the second part is the sniper part, and then the third part is the dog fight. Those are kind of the three main tough parts of this level. However, one thing I like to do whenever I make a hardest difficulty walkthrough is I like to find a spot where I kind of judge and say, okay, if you can beat this part, you can beat the game. You can do it. If you can get past this part, there is nothing else standing in your way. And for me, I would say that is Chapter 6. Now, Chapter 10 is also very hard. Chapter 11 is pretty difficult. But in my opinion, Chapter 6 was the hardest one in the game. And so if you can get through this, and namely, if you can get through the beginning, if you can get through the burning room fight, you are going to beat the game on AKUMU mode. That's not to say you're not going to have shitty situations later on. Trust me, there's going to be a lot of them. But this, in my opinion, is the hardest part of the game. Now, it's another one of those areas where I can't say that there's a bulletproof strategy. You know, like when you look at my walkthrough for Chapter 3, the way I defeated the sadist, that was a really good strategy. There is no such strategy for the burning room in Chapter 6. There's, in my opinion, there's no foolproof way to do it. There's no glitch in the system that you can exploit. But there are small things. There are small things that you can do. And of course, a bunch of small things added together can create quite a big thing. So, namely, and I'll talk about this more as we go to that fight, but one thing is there's a couple tricks you can do. So the burning room fight, it's 2 rooms, and there's no checkpoint in between rooms, so you have to beat both rooms in one go. Room 1, I found a way to do it pretty consistently. Room 1 actually became easy for me. It was really easy for me to get to Room 2. So I'm going to show you my strategy for Room 1. I think it'll be helpful. Room 2 is just Room 2 is not fun. Room 2, I could not come up with a similar strategy. It ended up just it ended up becoming an area where you just got to run out the clock, and that's ultimately what it comes down to. And like I said, it'll make more sense when we get to that fight. But the biggest thing I'm going to recommend is to upgrade your crossbow bolts. So you start the level off in the hospital, and you can upgrade the shock bolt and the flash bolt. You can upgrade the duration. So you can upgrade the duration of a flash bolt. How long is it going to stun the enemies? Is it going to stun them for 15 seconds or 30 seconds or maybe even a minute? That's going to be really important because using those bolts is a good way to run down the clock during the burning room fight. Same thing goes with the flash bolt. That one can increase the duration, and it can also you can increase the range in which it shocks the enemy. So upgrading those bolts is going to be key. I wouldn't say you don't really have to focus on upgrading your matches for this fight. You don't have to focus on upgrading your shotgun because we're going to get through it using relatively as little ammo as possible. The main thing is how strong your bolts are, and sprint. Sprint is going to be important. So by this point in the game, you should have already upgraded your sprint to like at least level 3. The farthest I end up going is level 4. But sprint is going to be a crucial part to this strategy because, again, sprint is going to allow us to run down the clock because we're going to just be kind of sprinting away from the enemies. But like I said, guys, this fight is tough. You're going to have to be persistent. You're going to have to keep trying. Some people, it might take more than others. I know I read online that some people, they spent the better part of a day on the fight. For me, it took an hour and a half. And I think in broader terms of everyone who's played this game on AKUMU, I think that's actually a pretty good time.
The photographs.
And of course, I in no way mean to brag or say my strategies are the best. I'm just simply stating the fact that I was able to get through this fight somewhat easier. Now the good news is this is a fight that I would not say depends on luck. Some fights, sometimes luck is a big part. This is not a fight that I would say depends on luck. This is a fight that depends on your strategy, on your resources, and ultimately on your nerves. Remaining calm in tough situations. I know that sounds kind of funny considering we're playing a video game, but if you have not played The Evil Within before, and if you haven't played it on AKUMU, I don't think you understand that it can be very stressful. This is a very stressful game. This is not a game for leisure, for casual gamers to sit down and say, oh, you know what, it's a Sunday afternoon, I feel like just sitting down and relaxing with a nice video game. No, this is not Super Mario Galaxy. This is not, I'm trying to think of a relaxing game because I don't play relaxing games. It's not a relaxing game. It's stressful, and this fight intensifies that greatly. Now anyway, there's going to be a body here. You don't actually have to burn him. You see, I just wasted a match. Apparently physics doesn't work in this scenario. But anyway, behind him is a statue. I found out earlier today, actually, because I'm playing right now on easy. I'm getting the trophy for not doing any upgrades. I found out you don't have to burn that body to get the key. You can actually just kind of shimmy your way behind it. But anyway, once you have everything in this area, go ahead and prep yourself. Craft any bolts you're going to need, primarily shock bolts and flash bolts. Those are your two best friends in this fight. So prep as much as you can. You should have, hopefully a good amount of parts. You see here I only have 3 parts, but I'm going to make do with what I have. But yeah, so go ahead and craft the bolts that you need, count your supplies, approach the door. That's going to trigger a cutscene, and then the fight.
Are you all right?
My head wouldn't stop buzzing. It felt like it was about to crack open. But now it's like I'm starting to get used to it.
You seen Kidman?
No. Next thing I knew, I was here. I must have blacked out, or maybe I turned again.
Inside. Let's go.
Another one?
Get that thing open.
I'm working on it. Just give me a little time.
Alright guys, the burning room fight, one of the hardest moments, if not the hardest moment in the game. What you're going to do in the beginning is you're just going to keep these 2 enemies alive. You are going to run circles around them. You're just going to let them get close, and then at the last second you're going to sprint away. I was able to do this strategy that I'm doing now. It's pretty consistent. I ended up getting through this first room very easily, multiple times in a row. It should not be a problem. And what you're going to do is you're going to run around in circles until you see the other enemies come into the room. So you see now the enemies are just now coming into the room. This guy, if you do the flashbolt too early, he might not get stunned. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot the flashbolt, I'm going to stun them, but I'm not going to kill them. I am going to intentionally leave them alive. And now I'm going to charge up a second flashbolt. I'm going to wait till they get close to me and then shoot that baby off. Now again, notice how I am not killing these guys. That is because the second you kill them, more enemies will spawn. And so if you wait, no more enemies will spawn. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to prep my pistol, get ready to shoot these explosive barrels, and if you shoot them at exactly the moment that they become unstunned, you'll be able to kill most of them. More enemies are now going to enter the room, but because you stalled for so long, Joseph will open the door, get through, and you are done with the first room. That is a very easy, consistent strategy that worked for me numerous times. Now this is where things get hard because you do not get a checkpoint going into this second room, so pick up those bolts that you get for free, And this is where things get tough. Now, ultimately, we're going to pick the same strategy. We're going to run in circles, we're going to let a lot of enemies conglomerate, and then we're going to shoot a flashbolt to stun everyone. The problem here is that there is no similar spawning strategy. You cannot keep these guys alive and hope that no more enemies will show up. Enemies will continuously show up. That's just what's going to happen. Trust me, I tried. I could not figure it out. So what I'm going to do is, while they're stunned, I'm going to shoot an explosive bolt and at least kill 2 of them. But now here come more, so I'm doing the same thing. But again, you see some of these guys did not get stunned. I'm going to run around them, and now I'm going to go to work. I'm going to prep another flashbolt, and I'm just going to run in circles. And finally, I'm going to shoot another flashbolt. You'll notice how now they're kind of all conglomerated together, so I'm going to shoot an explosive bolt in the center, get as much damage done as I can. And now, unfortunately, I'm out of flashbolts, so maybe you'll have more than me. That would be awesome. But that might not be the case. So now I'm just going to prep. I'm going to shoot a freeze grenade. I only got 1 guy, so that kind of sucks. But now I'm running low on bolts. Now comes the part in the strategy where I'm just going to run circles around the room. I'm going to do basically what I was doing in room 1. I'm just going to run in circles. That's why it pays to have good sprint here. One thing you can try is, if the enemies are all kind of packed together, you can shoot them with a shotgun, knock them down, and then throw a match and try to burn them all. Notice how also I didn't end up using my shock bolts here. But now you see there's a lot of haunted in the room, and I'm just going to run in circles. That's honestly the best approach. And like I said, guys, this is not easy. It's not going to work first try. I can promise you that. This is going to take practice. This is going to take persistence. But eventually, I think you'll get it.
Let's rest for a minute. We can't keep going at this pace.
I think we've got to get out of this place as fast as we can.
What about the tower there? We might be able to get a lay of the land. Anything's got to be better than staying here.
Alright, so if you are at this point in the game, go ahead and stop, take a breather, and give yourself a pat on the back, because in my opinion, you just got through the hardest part in the game. And if you can do that, you're going to be able to finish this game on AKUMU mode. Like I said, there's still many tough sections to come, but that, in my opinion, was the hardest part. And like I said, guys, unfortunately, the strategy, there's no bulletproof strategy. It's going to take a bit of persistence, it's going to take a bit of skill, it might even take a little bit of luck. But, you know, after trying it enough times, just don't give up, and you should be able to do it. Alright, so now we're going to visit the upgrade chair. You'll notice that I picked up the sniper rifle, so I'm going to go ahead and upgrade some of those traits, maybe upgrade the stock so I can carry more ammo. Now the good news is, even though that fight is very, very difficult, I'm going to show you a really cool strategy to beating the next area. I think this might help a lot of people. The only thing it relies on is that you are somewhat skilled with the sniper rifle. So check this out. I'm going to use the same exact strategy that I used in Chapter 3. Once you kill the sadist, all of the little haunted will go away. Now things get a little trickier here, because in order to fight the sadist, you have to first kill the 4 tower operators. That is a challenge in itself. But what you're going to see here is I'm just going to completely bypass all of the little guys. I'm going to say, screw it, I'm not even worrying about you. So I'm going to go up this ladder here. Ultimately, this was unnecessary because I was still trying to figure out what approach I wanted to take. So what I'm doing here, you don't even have to do this. This was just because I thought I'd try something and then it didn't quite work out, so I had to adapt my method on the fly. Alright, but so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run up here to where you see all the arrows in the ground, and you'll get a checkpoint. You'll actually get a checkpoint right here. So as soon as you spawn off that checkpoint, aim your sniper rifle up to the top right tower, pop a shot, get the kill. Now this tower is going to open, and you can actually get a headshot. I missed, but I'm going to show you you can get it here. So I'm going to run to this location, look up, and as soon as this door opens, kill the second guy. Now be careful, because a bunch of haunted are going to spawn and they're going to be chasing you. I'm going to go halfway up this staircase, kill the third guy, go down the staircase so that I don't get hit by the bolts, and then run back up. There's going to be 2 enemies in this area. I'm going to shoot them back just to stun them and give myself some breathing room. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get myself onto this bridge, prep my sniper rifle, kill the 4th tower operator. He wasn't even able to get off a shot. And now that I've killed all of the tower operators, I can start the fight against the sadist. And like I said, as soon as you start fighting the sadist, all of the little haunted will go away. So notice how I did not kill a single one of these guys. I'm just going to sprint to this door, go through, you'll get a checkpoint, and boom, no more haunted in the area. They are all gone except for the sadist. And at this point, with how many with all the upgraded weapons you have and everything, the sadist is very easy to kill. I'm just going to pop them a few times with the shotgun, maybe take out my grenades, maybe use some harpoon bolts. The point is, with all the stuff you have in your arsenal now, this guy is a joke. And given the fact that you're given a checkpoint right before you fight him, that just makes your life way easier. And so this was a strategy I thought was very effective. If you can just kill all 4 tower operators and then sprint to this location, you can fight the sadist, and as soon as you start fighting the sadist, all of the little haunted will go away. And that will just greatly help you conserve your ammo and your stress levels. So again, the only thing that strategy really depends on is that you can aim pretty quickly with the sniper rifle. One thing I recommend is, if you didn't know this, when you aim the sniper rifle, it will automatically center on wherever your screen is centered before you aim. So like, how do I explain this? Let's say Joseph was standing in front of me. If I position it so that the center of my screen is focused on Joseph's head, when I aim the sniper rifle, his head will be in the center scope. That's just how sniping mechanics work in video games. So you can kind of cheat a little bit. You can look at the towers, and that way when you aim your sniper rifle, you won't have to like figure out where you are. You'll just be automatically aimed at the thing. But also noticed how a couple of those times what I did was I actually was already looking through my scope while the tower door was closed. And that way I knew where the guys were going to be standing, so I could position my reticle so that once that door opened, I could get a shot off. And you saw, like, on that 4th tower, I was able to get the shot off before he was even able to fire his weapon. So again, it'll take a little bit of practice, but like I showed you, if you run to that location, you'll get a checkpoint, and from there, things become much easier. Now this part's sped up because there's just, as usual, there's a lot of resources. There's going to be a key. If you look at the very top of this tower with your sniper rifle, you're going to shoot it, and then it will fall down directly in front of that doorway. That's a very hard key to find. Keep in mind, too, I did not find all of these keys. I had to use a walkthrough for that because I'm always terrible at finding collectibles. Usually I give credit to the walkthroughs that I use. But in this case, I used just a couple of them. I think probably the biggest one I used was IGN. Actually, no, I can tell you IGN is the biggest one I used because they have a separate page for just the key locations. So if you want to find all the keys, use IGN. I'm sure there's other walkthroughs online that are just as good, but IGN they had a very good one, I thought. Alright, so now before we go into that elevator, there's a what am I trying to say? There's a mirror portal here, so you're going to want to go ahead and go through there if you have any keys, or you see I have one key, obviously the one I just picked up, or maybe you have green gel that you want to spend. So once again, like I usually do, I'm going to speed up the video here just so you don't have to watch all this boring stuff, but I'm going to stock up on ammo, save my game just in case. You'll notice how many saves I have. That's one thing, is you want to save frequently, and actually one thing you can do is you can use saves as a strategy. So for example, let's say you play level 6 and you use a ton of ammo, and then you get to level 7 and you can't beat it because you don't have enough ammo. Well then, how are you going to fix it? You're not going to be able to fix it unless you could time travel back to level 6. Luckily, that's what saves allow you to do. So if you save your game at the beginning of level 6 and then save your game at the beginning of level 7 on 2 separate save files, if you reach that problem in level 7 where you don't have enough ammo, you can reload the save from the beginning of chapter 6, replay the chapter, and try to do a more conservative approach so that once you get to level 7 the next time, you'll have what you need. So yeah, saving can often be a very useful mechanic to, aid your hardest difficulty strategies. I think it's a very overlooked strategy. But anyway, burn that body and go ahead and hop down into the elevator. I should say up, actually, because that's the direction we are going. So like I said, this is the longest level in the game, at least at this point. I think some of them will get a little longer, but this one's about 45 minutes if I remember correctly. But anyway, green gel right there. Go ahead and pick that up. And then approach the bridge, and you'll trigger a kind of long cutscene, and then we'll get back into the action.
Do you think Kidman is okay?
I don't like that they used her as bait. Almost like someone's toying with us. Hang in there. Just a little further.
There are only two. We can take them.
No, that's not... Joseph!
Alright, so after that little cutscene, you're going to have to snipe the two guys that are carrying Joseph towards the guillotine. You're going to have to obviously kill them before they get close enough to kill Joseph. So you can actually shoot one of the guys from a little closer. You can shoot through the wood here. But I'm just going to go ahead and pick up that sniper ammo, and then you'll see I get a quick shot right there, kind of through that wood. And then I'm just going to wait for the second guy to come into place, take him out, and it's really pretty easy. And the benefit is you do get a checkpoint right before that sequence, so even if you happen to miss one of your shots or something like that, you'll be able to respawn right before it. So ultimately, very easy section. The next part, though, there's going to be a very short cutscene, but the next part is actually slightly tougher. So go ahead, and Joseph's going to throw this bridge over. So go ahead and cross and trigger that short little scene, and then we'll get back to the game.
You should have just let them.
Huh? What the hell?
It's just a matter of time. It's better this way.
What the fuck?
Cover me.
Let's go.
Alright, so as soon as you gain control of Sebastian, immediately turn around and try to shoot this guy before he's able to get close to you. And if you shoot him in the legs, he'll fall down and you can drop a match and get him out of the way. As long as you can kill that first guy, things become significantly easier, because now the enemies, in order to get to you, they have to cross this little bridge. So you just want to let them get kind of close. Try to get the enemies to conglomerate. So you see right here, there's 3 enemies kind of all on top of each other. So I'm going to go ahead and throw an explosive bolt. Somehow, that did not even hurt the other 2, which I think is kind of bullcrap, but sometimes that's just what happens in the game. And so since that didn't work, I'm going to go ahead and shoot them both. Now there's going to be this guy way over here throwing dynamite sticks at you. For some reason, he just stays where he is, and he can't actually throw it far enough to hurt you. So I don't know what he was thinking when he planned out his approach, but I can guarantee you he is not watching a walkthrough strategy on how to kill Sebastian, because he does not know what he's doing. But anyway, you don't have to worry about killing him. Go ahead and save your ammo. And eventually Joseph will get the gate open, and you'll come to this area here. Now, once we get here, I think if I remember correctly, I'm going to speed up this section, because there's nothing here. It's a bunch of free goodies. Like, this is a part in the game where the game is saying, hey, listen, I apologize for putting you through that burning room fight. I apologize for putting you through the sniper section. this one's on me. That's essentially what the game is doing here. There are tons of boxes. There's green gel, there's ammo, there's matches, there's a key in this area. This is really a good moment to be Sebastian, because most of this game it is not a good time to be Sebastian. This is a good moment. So just go ahead and explore the whole area. Take your time. But like I said, since there's really not a whole lot going on here in terms of stuff you would need help with, that's why I'm speeding up the video. But right here, if you crush those boxes, you'll discover a little hole in the wall. And if you go through that hole, you'll be led to a key. And it's the only key in this area, so make sure you pick that up. And then, like I said, you could see I'm just getting a ton of green gel. So this is a very, very generous section. All we have left to do in this chapter is we have the fight against the two twins, and then we have the dog fight. And again, I can never remember the actual names the enemies are given, which is why I'm saying twins and dog. Twins are very easy. The dogfight is a little tougher, but ultimately it's not too difficult. And the good news is you don't actually have to kill the dog. In fact, I'm not going to kill the dog because there's really no point in doing it other than getting a large amount of green gel, which I don't think is worth the amount of pain you're going to go through trying to kill the dog. Anyway, you'll approach this area here. There's going to be another cutscene. There's kind of a lot in this chapter, actually. And then after the cutscene, we're going to have to do a little bit of easy work, but you know, we're still going to have to do it.
Shit. Let's hide out in here for a minute.
Is this what it was like, Seb? After the accident?
Well, I never put a gun to my head.
No, of course not. Just quietly sank into a bottle.
We can't all be perfect. It never affected my work. But hey, you read the IA report.
You know I didn't report you because I was worried about your work, Sebastian.
What else is there? We don't have time for this. I need my partner here. I'm counting on you.
Now, once you get to this area, turn around, and there's actually a map fragment right here on this cage that you're going to want to pick up. There's also some other goodies lying around, maybe some matches and ammo and whatnot. But pick up the map fragment, and then there's actually going to be a mirror portal in this area, which will take you to the save room. So that's going to be right through here. You can already hear the creepy music playing. So this might be a good point to go do some upgrades. Like I said, we are going to have 2 boss fights to deal with. So let's see. In general, hopefully you've already upgraded your sprint to level 3 or 4. The main things, as always, matches, stock for your ammunition. One thing that comes in handy against the trolls I found is upgrading the shotgun critical damage and damage multiplier, because that's a weapon I use against them. But you see right there, I didn't even make any upgrades because I was pretty much good to go. I had what I needed. But like I said, this is your opportunity. This is your last opportunity in the level to make those upgrades. So if there's anything you think you're going to need, try to do it. But like I said, at this point, you should be somewhat well off.
Here and see if I can get a look ahead.
You all right?
Yeah. Hey, that's Kidman. Who's that she's with? what I found. Seems to be in working condition. Go on ahead, I'll cover you.
Alright, so immediately crouch behind this wall here. Don't go too far down the steps, otherwise you'll get burned by that Molotov. But you can see the sniper off in the distance. So eventually you're going to want to creep up to these tombstones. Joseph will kill that guy for you, and he'll actually kill a lot of the guys in this area. So this was a part where I was kind of worried. I thought Joseph's not going to actually do anything, and I'm going to have to kill everyone for myself. But this is one of the few moments in the game where Joseph is actually pretty useful. So you see he killed the sniper for me. And then as you try to progress, this guy is going to leave the area, but a couple of them are also going to awaken. So I suggest running back and try to let Joseph do as much of the work as possible. So you see here I'm going to shoot these guys in the legs, knock them down, and try to just use my matches. You see right there, Joseph killed that guy for me. And then I think he's going to kill this guy for me. Yep, so you see right there, I only killed one guy right there. Joseph killed everyone else. Now, sure, I did have to shoot the other guys to stall them so that Joseph had enough time to kill him. But the point is I got through that area with solely my pistol. And I just shot them in the legs so that they fell down. If they had stayed down for longer, I could have used a match. But like I said, Joseph will do most of the work there. So as long as you can stall long enough, you can conserve some matches and conserve some ammo, which is always a good idea. And now we're going to do the troll fight. So there's going to be two trolls here. The first one is kind of slow. The second one's pretty fast. So the second one, I'm going to show you a neat little trick you can do to take him out. It's a very defensive strategy, and it's a little sheepish, I guess, but it gets the job done, and it's something that is unique. So that's why I like it. Alright, so anyway, come into this area here, crush these boxes. Maybe you'll get something, maybe you won't. That's just the luck of the draw. I'm going to start off with my harpoon bolts because I don't use those very often, but like I said, sometimes they can come in handy, especially in areas where you don't want to give up your stronger ammo like shock bolts and shotgun and whatnot. So this troll's going to break out, or twin. I don't know if they're trolls. I don't know what you call them. But anyway, I'm going to shoot a harpoon bolt right there in his head, another one right in his torso, and then a third one at his chest. He's going to run at me. I'm going to go ahead and drop him with a fourth one. That should be enough to get him down to his knees, and then once that happens, I'm just going to pull out my sniper rifle, put 2 shots in his dome, and that'll take him out. Now, as soon as you kill him, make a run for it, run through the tunnels here, and get to this large structure in the back of the graveyard, and then crawl inside of it. So you can see the second twin is much, much faster. So right now I'm going to speed up the footage because this is going to take a little while. And it only takes a while because my main goal was to get here. Once I got here, I wasn't sure what to do. But Joseph actually will shoot this guy. So Joseph will cause some damage, but you're still going to have to get involved. So basically, what you're going to want to do is lure him to one end of the structure. And then once he is on that end of the structure, you're going to pop out with, and maybe with your pistol, you're just going to shoot him in the leg a few times. So you see right here, I'm going to shoot him with my shotgun and then immediately go back into hiding. Now I'm going to equip my pistol. You can see how he's kind of sticking to this side right here. So now I pop out, pop a couple shots with my pistol, and that's basically it. You're going to rinse and repeat that strategy. You can see he's mindlessly running into this structure here. Pop out, get a couple shots, pop back in. Like I said, you know, it's a defensive strategy. It's a little sheepish, but it allows me to basically kill this guy using nothing but my pistol, and that's very beneficial because you want to save your bolts for the dog that's coming up. So whether or not you choose to adopt this strategy, that is your call, but I just wanted to show you that it is in fact possible to do it this way. Because the first troll is really easy to kill. The first troll is pretty slow. He doesn't take a lot of damage. The second troll, he's fast, and that makes things significantly harder because let's say he's charging at you, and let's say you shoot an explosive bolt into his chest. He's so fast that he's going to run up to you, and that explosive bolt is going to catch you in the blast, and you're going to get killed. You're going to try to shoot him with the shotgun, and you're probably only going to get one shot off, and then he's going to charge you, and you're going to die. So like I said, you know, it's not, it's a very defensive strategy. It gets the job done, and I was basically able to kill him using nothing but my pistol. And whenever I can do that, that's a good thing. So, Anyway, with them out of the way, you're almost done with Chapter 6. All we have left to do is the dogfight. The good news is Chapter 7 is really easy. Chapter 8 is really easy. Chapter 9 can be tough, but in the grand scope of things, it's relatively easy. I will say that out of 7, 8, and 9, 9 did give me the most trouble out of those 3, but it's doable. It's not terrible. I never found myself in Chapter 9 yelling at the screen, blaming the game of being unfair. Let's put it that way. Chapter 10 is another one of the 2 hardest chapters in the game. So Chapters 6 and 10, in my opinion, are the hardest chapters of the game. Chapter 11, I found to be pretty tough. So when I searched online, like people's opinions about AKUMU mode, not everyone mentioned Chapter 11. And I disagreed with that. Chapter 11 for me was very hard. It took me, I think, longer than Chapter 10 actually to get through. Chapter 12, not bad. 13, 14, 15, all easy. Like I said at the beginning of this video, if you can get past Chapter 6, the hardest is behind you. You are going to beat the game on AKUMU mode. It's just a matter of getting through this level.
I guess we go down.
And keep in mind, Chapter 10, part of the reason Chapter 10 was so hard was because I decided to kill Laura. You can actually get through that fight without killing her. It's just that because I'm getting all of the keys, I wanted to kill her because you need to kill her in order to get one of the keys. But if you decide not to kill her, Chapter 10 becomes significantly easier. Now here we go. I just made some upgrades to my bolts because I know that I'm going to be using those against the dog. So again, like I said, knowing what to expect is a very underrated strategy. I knew that the dogfight was coming up, so I said, all right, you know, I was planning this from the very beginning. I said, what tools are going to be most effective against the dogfight? And that's another kind of beauty of this game. When you're familiar with the game, you can kind of look at every single section of the game as a different job, maybe like a construction job or a woodworking job or something. You look at every single section as a different job, and then you sit back and you say, okay, what tools do I need to get through this job? What are the most helpful tools? So for example, let's say, you know, I was trying to put a nail through a piece of wood. Could I use a screwdriver? Sure. I could hold the screwdriver by the metal end and I could ram the plastic end into the nail. And I'm sure after, you know, hard enough hitting and after a long enough time, the nail would essentially get through the wood. So can the screwdriver do the job? Yes. Is there a better tool to do the job? Of course, the hammer. You want to use the hammer. So when you look at the different sections, let's say I'm looking at, let's say I'm looking at the dogfight, for example. So real quick to interlude, there's a statue that's going to be on one of these body bags. You just got to pay attention and stand here for a little bit, and eventually the statue will come along, and you're just going to shoot it down and grab the key. But like I was saying, let's look at the dogfight. What makes the dogfight? So the dog is very fast, probably the fastest enemy in the game. Okay, so what does that tell me? That tells me that if I tried to use a sniper rifle, could I use the sniper rifle? Sure. But it's going to be pretty hard, because if he's moving really fast, I'm going to have a hard time pulling off headshots. Could I use the pistol? Again, sure, but accuracy is going to become a problem, and also the pistol's just not the strongest weapon. The pistol is better suited for haunted. What else is there? Could I use an explosive bolt? Sure. But again, if I shoot him with an explosive bolt, he's going to rush at me, and the blast is going to catch me in the damages, and I'm going to be killed as well. So all 3 of those tools, they work. They work if you do it right, but it's going to be much harder. And so in my opinion, the best tool to use is the shock bolts, because what you can do is you can shock the wolf. That will stun him, and then while he's stunned, you can use the sniper or the shotgun to blast away at his dome and take him out. And so it's really fun. That's one of the funnest, that's one of the best things about making hardest difficulty walkthroughs is when you view the sections of a game as different jobs, and you really have to sit there and say, okay, what are the best tools, or in this case, what are the best strategy to get through this? And I don't know, in my opinion, it breeds a lot of innovation when it comes to gameplay. And I really admire that, not only for the walkthroughs I make, but also for the channels that I watch. Alright, so this puzzle here is very easy. Each of these platforms is going to be labeled with a number 3, 5, 7, 9. The only platform that does not have a sacrifice on it is 7, and you can tell by looking at the wall there. All of the other numbers are crossed off except for 7. So make sure every platform has a body on it except for platform 7, and you'll be good. You'll be fine. Very simple puzzle. The puzzles in this game are never hard. I wouldn't even call them puzzles. They're just more game-slowing obstacles, I guess. They never cause you to rack your brain thinking, all right, how do I get past this one? All right, so this cage is going to miraculously spawn from a pool of blood, and Sebastian and Joseph are just going to hop inside without giving it a further thought. I can't say I would do the same. I'd be somewhat freaked out if I saw that happen. But, of course, after all the shit they've seen so far, I guess a cage spawning from a bloodbath isn't anything out of the ordinary. So you'll come to the lab here. You can actually see there's the 2 twins we just took down. Kind of a sad story if you read the document. There's also a picture of the dog right here on this board that I think you can inspect if you want. But yeah. So anyway, make your way through these tunnels, and we're actually going to see the dog right now. We're going to see the boss that we are about to fight. So here he is, very cute when he's sleeping. If you consider heavily mutated beasts cute, if that's your thing, then yes, it's a very cute sight to behold. Anyway, this is when you can tell I'm running short of commentary ideas, when I start making ridiculously unfunny jokes like that. Alright, but anyway, come to this area here. You'll reach a gate that is locked, and if you try to open it, Sebastian will ask Joseph if he can open it. That will trigger a short cutscene introducing the dog, and then we'll get into the boss fight. Alright guys, so right off the bat, the dog's going to do the same thing every time. He's going to rush you. So you see right there, I died quite a bit, that's why there was a cut in the video. He's going to rush you and hide behind these bushes. Follow him back there, shoot him with the shock bolt, pull out your sniper rifle or an explosive bolt or a grenade, something that will cause a lot of damage, and shoot him, and then immediately run to the other side of the bush and shoot him with another explosive bolt, because what he's going to do is he's going to run away, and so you can get a little bit more damage in there. I'm actually going to get a third one in there, which was very fortunate. Usually you can't do that, but you can see that if you shoot him with one of those things while he's not stunned, he'll shake it off. That's a very, very clever strategy of the dog. But anyway, there you see again, shock him, then explode him, and that one was pretty lucky. That's one of those areas where I gotta say it pays to be lucky sometimes. I shot him, but luckily I stunned him in midair, so he wasn't able to hurt me. Now right there, I shot him again. I kind of wasted a couple bolts there, which is unfortunate. But now that he's once again, you see he's just walking around like he doesn't even notice those things. But now I'm going to resort to my shotgun, and I'm just going to shoot him a few times until he, falls over. And that'll do it.
Joseph.
What is it?
I dropped my glasses back there.
Fuck.
Alright, and so for the second part of the fight, you have a choice here. You can either kill the dog, or you can leave the dog alone. If you want to try to kill him, be my guest, but you don't have to. There's really no benefit other than the green gel he'll drop if you do kill him. And at this point, we have all the green gel we need, so I'm just going to say screw it. I'm going to run back here, get the glasses. There's also a bolt right here that you can pick up, and then I'm just going to get out of here. There's no reason to kill him. Yeah, there's absolutely no reason to kill him, so I'm just going to run back to the gate, dodge the dog, and you can see it's actually very, very simple to do. But anyway, guys, that is the dogfight, and thus that is the end of Chapter 6. Now, the dogfight, there's not a whole lot of strategy there other than my opinion is just to shock him, then shoot him, shock him, then shoot him. And then if you run out of shock bolts, you can freeze him, or you can just start shooting him. The most dangerous thing he can do is hide in the bushes, because then when he rushes at you, you're not really going to have time to shoot him before he gets to you. That's where the shock bolts come in handy. So what you can do is if he runs in the bushes, you can either try to chase him into the bushes like you saw me do, or you can shoot a shock bolt in front of you. That way when he charges you, the bolts will shock him before he's able to get the jump on you. But anyway, guys, that is Chapter 6. That is, in my opinion, the hardest chapter of the game. If you are now at this point, stop, take a breather, and give yourself a pat on the back, because you are going to beat this game on AKUMU mode. There's still going to be some challenging sections, but you'll be able to get through it. So thank you for watching, guys. Like and subscribe if you get the chance. And see you in Chapter 7, The Keeper.